Hi, everyone. This is Veronique, and welcome back. You are listening to The Choice is Mine. Now, right before we went to break, we were talking about two incredible things that I discovered on my recent trip to India. And one was two questions that I had posed to a master teacher years and years and years ago that still kind of lived in my intellect as something that I didn't understand and I didn't get. And that was the first thing, because I wanted to know God. And I wanted to understand this level and this love of God. And what the master teacher said to me, and I'm repeating this from the first part of the show, but I want to kind of integrate it again, is that for you to know the level of love of God, for you to know what I know, and for you to know God, when you look upon a baby that has been blooded, beaten, or the one who has blooded the baby, beaten the baby, then you know what I know, and then you know God. Now, the second question is, how do you discern? How do you open yourself up to and discern between when you give a helping hand or not? And the master teacher answered very profoundly, what does your heart guide you to do? If in the moment that you are guided to lend a helping hand, and you do so through compassion, through love, not pity, not guilt, not because if I don't, I'll be looked at as a bad person, which has huge attachment to it, but freely through your love, freely through your compassion, then allow your heart to guide you. So now you're free, that if in the moment you are guided through that level of unattachment, and you're just guiding and responding through your compassion and love, give. Yet if there is any level of, well, if I do this, then I'll get that, and if I do this, then people will look at me as a great and wonderful person, or if I don't do this, they're going to think I'm a smuck. There's a lot of attachment around that. There's a lot of judgment around that. And that is only going to come back and bite you in the butt. So stop. Listen to your thoughts. Get clear. Are those thoughts truly focused on love and compassion, or on how you're going to be perceived and what you're going to get? Because if they're on how you're going to be perceived and what you're going to get, then recognize, and again, this is not about judging yourself if you recognize this. It's only about being aware that in that moment and in that time, you simply were not truly, openly, and honestly using your love. You were more into fear on whatever level. And remember all the different words there are for fear. Now, one of the things, again, a question that has been posed to me, and I said, well, Veronique, how did you get there? How are you able to come to this level of understanding and clarity where you stand in that and you feel that? And the only answer that I really have is that the material that came through me that I put together in this 2-volume course, The Choice is Mine, is what I live on a daily basis, what I do on a daily basis, because it's become a part of me. Now, in the beginning days, it was something that I had to read. I had to read it again and again and again to really be able to take it first from the intellectual level and then be able to integrate it into who I was and how I responded to life and how I was able to be. And through that consistency and through that practice and through that dedication, because that's what it was for me. It was a dedication. Because how come? Because I was absolutely, positively determined that I was not going to pass on to my children the same level of pain, confusion, and abuse that I had lived through as a child. Now, I didn't know how that was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to allow that to occur for me. I just knew that I was dedicated, and I had dedicated all of who I was for that to happen. And now I'm sharing this with all of you guys. I'm sharing what had been successful for me. And again, remember, guys, it's not the only way. There's tons of things out there in the world. I can just share with you that this has worked for me. And for those who have chosen to pick up the choice as mine, somehow, some way, it has worked for them as well, in different ways. You know, some, it really supported them in getting off what I call the gerbil wheel. And the gerbil wheel is something where you go around and around and around and you expel a lot of energy and you get off at the same place because you didn't really realize that what you were doing was the same old thing, but you were just calling it a different name and thinking like, whoa, this is going to make a change. And so you'd spend all that energy, all that time, all that focus, but all you did was get on a gerbil wheel and go around and around and around and around. And what I know is that this has helped me and countless others get off the gerbil wheel if you choose. And for those who still kind of enjoy the gerbil wheel, going around and around and around and around and expending a lot of energy and getting off at the same place, because remember, again, in my world, there is no right or wrong. There is no lesser and greater. Just is what it is. So if that's what you really require right now, it also will allow you to feel better about being on the gerbil wheel. You know, so it's a win-win.